Hey guys, and welcome to the 10 Minutes Agile series by Luxoft. My name is Tom Richter. I'm working as a senior innovation consultant for DXC. And we would like to talk in today's series about what is agility actually. With me is Luis, who is a senior program manager, especially working in the automotive and banking industry. Hey, Luis.
Hi, Tom. Thanks for inviting me. It's really interesting to talk about Agile and all these topics. So, very excited.
Great. So maybe to kick things off, what I would like to know, and especially our audience would like to know, is agility is a term where there's a lot of misception of it, also often referred as a topic which can actually solve anything. So maybe my first question, the difference between what people think agility actually is and what is it actually what we're doing?
Yeah, well, this is very interesting because right now the agility term is used a lot in the industry. So you can hear a lot about agility. You can hear a lot of people or companies saying we are agile. But the truth is that maybe most part of them do not know what is agile. So I just think that we should start saying what is not agile. And maybe you have some examples as well that with the teams that you have worked with.
Yeah, definitely. Especially thinking about what is not agile. I would say not. If someone says, "Oh, I'm working agile," they're often using it as an excuse to not plan, to not make any documentation, to just start working, doing something, and saying, "Yes, it's agile. We do not have to have our documentation in place, or we do not have to have it ready." And that's exactly what's definitely not agile. I mean, Luis, you probably want to add there.
Yeah, definitely. I've heard a lot of people saying that Agile is just starting right away and forgetting about everything. But the truth is that agility, it's not about just developing and using sticky notes or having funny meetings. This is something that I also found in some organizations. So definitely, these are good tools. I mean, having a board with a lot of sticky notes or having these kind of meetings will help you to achieve the goals that you have. But in essence, just doing this is not agile. So I have found, for example, in one of the teams that I coached, one of the one of the teams that I coached, one of the teams was having a board with a lot of sticky notes, and they were saying that this was super agile because they were using it. The truth is that in the sticky notes, they were just writing requirement IDs. So it was exactly the same for all the team to have it or not to have it. So definitely using that is not agile. Another thing that is not agile is using Scrum or Kanban. So many people think that just jumping there and using Scrum and reading the Scrum guide and start having dailies and start having retrospectives is doing agility. The truth is that these are just frameworks that you can use to set up your processes. These are, again, tools that you can use, but definitely this is not agility. If you're not using the core agile values and principles, then you are not agile. What do you think about this?
Yeah, totally agree with you. Using a framework definitely is going to help you how to structure your agile way of working, but it's definitely not going to, if you're having the wrong mindset, you can use any framework, whichever you want to. It's not going to help you to be agile. And one thing which I would like to point out in addition to what's really not agile, it does not matter whether you're working in an agile way or working in a waterfall way or whatsoever. You are going to have similar amount of work or similar tasks in both worlds. It's just the way these tasks are structured, the way they are done is different, but you definitely are not going to have less work or less structure in an agile way.
Yeah, I agree. And now that you're talking about setting up processes and adopting a framework, something that I also found is that the teams are adopting modern tools for project management, like, for example, Jira, Trello, any other tool. So they also think that they are agile just by using these tools. What I found, based on my experience, they are just taking these tools and moving their old processes to these tools. I have found some teams that are really doing waterfall by sprints. They're just moving their Gantt chart and splitting it in sprints, keeping the same principles, keeping the same values. And this is definitely something that not agility.
Couldn't agree more. I can't count how often I've seen someone, a typical waterfall project manager, who's just learned the term agility, knows, okay, now we have to do scrum. So just splitting his Gantt chart in a sprint value, but having no clue what it actually means. But maybe adding to that, so now we've talked a lot about what is not agility, but what would you say, what do I have to do to be agile, or what do I have to think?
Yeah, these are, so the conversation that we just have, these are anti-patterns. We call them like that. And it is really important to identify them, because you can just relate to some examples that you will find in documentations or even from some experts in the industry. And there are also a lot of documented ways to solve them. So it is important to identify them. Now, what is agility? So if we go by the book, and we are very, very technical and practical, so agility is basically a set of values and principles. It is not a framework. It is not a methodology. It is just a set of values and principles that some people, some very frustrated people in the IT industry came up with to develop better software. So I will not talk about these 4 values and 12 principles, because we will spend here a lot of time. But I think this is a good example of the next podcast that we will have. Maybe we can do one with what is your favorite value, what is your favorite principle, and talk about this more in detail. But I suggest that if you're starting your Agile journey, I will recommend to go there and at least read once the Agile manifesto to see what is it. What I often do with when building the concept of agility is I ask the people to go there, read it once, don't try to understand it, because you will not. Then read it again and start thinking on practical examples for each one of the values, for each one of the principles, and come up with the real life examples that will help you understand the manifesto. What do you think about this? Do you have any other experience?
No, I think you're totally right, especially looking at the Agile manifesto and the key principles behind Agile. That's something which is really based on practical learning, which is really based on a mindset. So I couldn't agree more with that. It's not a framework, that it's not just a way of working, but it's a way of thinking and then applying frameworks to make that thinking happen. Especially looking into some practical examples. I've seen a lot of project managers who try to use agility by applying a framework but not using the right mindset. So it's reading that manifesto multiple times, I think, is most crucial.
Yes, I totally agree with this. And yeah, so if we talk about agility, I think it's only about having a way of working that is allowing you and your team and your organization to achieve the goals that you have.
Sorry, Luis. Just one quick question. Would you say agility is a principle with which I could solve any problem, or anything is applicable to be used in agility?
No, I think the agility is a concept that you need to build inside your organization. It's not a principle that you can just take and apply it, but it is about building it and making it your own principle inside your organization. And so if we talk a little bit more about principles, I think, or at least what I feel that these are the most important, or the concepts that I relate more. It's that you need to be able to have an environment that is able to adapt the development process to the context and the circumstances that you're having. So this is one of the main concepts or principles of agility. I think it's really important right now to adapt fast and be able to change or adapt the things that you're doing inside your teams. And in order to achieve this, of course, you need to have a good team, right? And in agility, as we talk about the principles or transparency or inspect and adapt and all these concepts, you need to be able to build a team that will be performing really good together. That is a small team that can produce something, and that will be performing based on the principles that you said at the beginning.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Luis. So sadly, our time is up already. So Luis, thanks a lot again for all these great insights. I'm really looking forward to having that next session, then deep diving into specific agile frameworks like Scrum, for example. And guys, really looking forward having you the next time. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please write into the comments also what you would like to know in the next sessions, and see you soon. Bye.